Yeah, hallo und guten Tag. My name is Ruslan, and I'm going to explain today what is business information systems. And if you're really interested in business information technology in general, or in computer science, or if you're in general interested into IT-related topics, so I would recommend you to subscribe for the channel right now because I'm going to talk from the heart into the brain. So what are information systems? Information systems are also sometimes named as information and communication technology, which the shortage for it is ICT. Sometimes you're gonna hear it too. And the information system is just needed to describe a process between a human being, the task the human being is about to make, and the technology we need. So the information systems are also deeply connected with the so-called application systems. And when people try to describe information systems, they also sometimes talk about application system, and sometimes application and information systems are gonna mixed, but they are not the same because the application system are based of 4 components. So the first component of the application system is the software, hardware, storage, technology, and of course the network and telecommunication technology we need. So, like I said before, the information systems are used to describe a process which we need to understand what kind of task a human being or sometimes a company has to fulfill and what kind of data is created during this process. And this process will create data which has to be procured, distributed, and processed. So now you ask yourself, what are information systems used for? So let's say you are a small business owner and your business concept is based on selling some nice, delicious, and strong Ethiopian coffee. So you sell this coffee, but you never have used in any kind of IT structure before. You don't have integrated, so you do only everything by hand. You write down at the end of the day how many customers you have. You make the calculations maybe with some kind of calculator. You say like, oh, I have sold today like, I don't know, like 50 Ethiopian coffee, and I have made some kind of, let's say, 500 euros today. So you see this kind of like way to handling the business is in today's standards like the old-fashioned way you have to do this. So that's why people, or let's say especially big companies, are asking themselves, how can we save as much time as possible, and what kind of investments we have to make to do this kind of process inside our company more digitalized. So we're gonna save as much time as possible so we can work as efficient as possible, and we're gonna save and or also make as much money as possible when we use this kind of information systems. So let's say you as a small business owner for Ethiopian coffee here in Berlin maybe, and you came to the idea you want to digitalize your company. So in your business, you're not only selling maybe one type of Ethiopian coffee, but maybe you're selling different types of Ethiopian coffee. So you have given for this Ethiopian coffee, for example, like a standard number. So in this case, I said like, okay, this coffee has the number 215. We know the product is coffee, and 1 cup of coffee costs in your shop, for example, for 2.29. It's just an example. So when we put this data into the information system is helping us to classify this data into a more understandable information, because we're gonna know what kind of product it is, we're gonna know what kind of article number it is, we're gonna know what kind of price it is, and maybe we also know how much revenue have we made, over a week, a month, a half year, or maybe a quarter or a year or whatever. And let's say you not only have, for example, 1 coffee shop, maybe you have 2, 3 or 4 or 10, or hopefully one day hundreds of coffee shops. And it's good to know that we not only have one type of information systems. It depends on what kind of task do you want, or let's say what kind of solution do you want to create for which kind of environment. So in this case, the example I have given you with the Ethiopian coffee shop, this information system is usually called as operational information system. But if you're looking for processing, storage, acquisition of data, then you might need the so-called computerized information systems. And the third example I want to give you is the so-called external information system. And this external information system is used especially by big players, for example, to maintain the communication between the different company locations. Yes, so that's the end of the video. If you have any questions about information systems or in general about business information technology, you can write this question down. I'm going to do my best to answer this question. And yeah, at the end, I just want to say Auf Wiedersehen, Dankeschön for watching this video, and we're gonna see us again. Peace.